Hello students, welcome to this video on the Edible Woman by Margaret Atwood, and we are going to see chapter 14 in this video. And before that, let us just quickly look at what we saw in chapter 13, which was a fairly long chapter. So in chapter 13, we see that Marion was not concentrating on her work, but concentrating on the surrounding activity, the activity that was going on around her, because she was busy with this razor blade survey, and she was trying to change the questions in that. And then she comes up with a fancy story connected to the razor blade. She's also feeling a bit disconnected because now she knows that she's engaged to Peter, disconnected from work because she knows that she's engaged to Peter, and she can always take up. She need not work after that. But anyway, after this fancy story, she notices the chaos in the office. She knows that there is chaos going on, but she wants to know more about what is going on there. And she realizes that through Emmy, she gets this information that there was some goof up in this particular survey. And so what has happened is, because these people have sent the letters to the wrong people, the letters containing the questionnaires to the wrong interviewees, to the wrong people, they cannot interview them right now. And then they go out for lunch. Marion suggests that they go out for lunch, and during lunch, she reveals that she has been engaged to Peter. So there is in chapter 14, we will know when exactly all these things happen. So we will see that, okay? So what happens is she reveals that there are very different reactions from the office virgins, from her friends, the office virgins. And when she's back in office, Peter cancels a dinner that he was supposed to have with Marion. So Marion cannot go over to Peter's flat. So, and then she works on the dog food questionnaire, and she also reveals that her wedding is going to be in late March. And there is news from Joe Bates that Clara has given birth to a very healthy baby girl who is 10 pounds in weight, okay, who weighs 10 pounds. And then Mrs. Bogue, the chapter closes with a discussion of a perverted man who poses as an interviewer and talks dirty to the interviewees, to prospective interviewees, by talking about some survey. And then he goes around talking dirty to the person whom he called. So he does this over the telephone. The main point is, he poses as an interviewer and telephones women. So no one has seen his face. Okay, complaints have come into Seymour surveys saying that, to the company, saying that, come on, you should be controlling this man, but they are not able to find out. And when Marion leaves office, she gets this two strange ideas. One, that the society is responsible for creating people, perverts like the underwear man, because advertisements and reality are not the same. Two, that Peter is the underwear man because he, under the pressure that he is facing, because of the pressure that he is facing at office, because he's actually training to be a lawyer, which so he's making these calls. So with that, we will continue with chapter 14. So she comes out of office, Marion comes out of office, and she's back at the flat. So the moment she's back at the flat, Marion reaches her flat. Ainsley looks at her and she's surprised. She's surprised that Marion has come to the flat. She was expecting that Marion would be having dinner with Peter. Just one small thing, people. I'll be pausing the video, writing the content, and then explaining it to you. That will reduce the length of the video. Just give me a feedback on that if you can. Okay? Actually, what is surprising is that, and Marion is taken aback. Yeah, well, you don't want me here. So, that is the question that comes in her mind. So Marion says that the dinner date has been cancelled. So the dinner date has been cancelled, and so she has come home. And then Ainsley reveals that she is going to seduce Leonard, that is Len, tonight. She is going to have she's planning her baby tonight, to conceive the baby tonight. So, since Ainsley is planning this, she does not want Marian's presence. So, Marian uh, has to be absent from the flat for a significant amount of from their room for a significant amount of time. And what is revealed is, so Marian is a bit shocked. She has actually brought in. She's a bit surprised. Sorry, she has brought in some grocery. She keeps it on the kitchen table, and then she starts reflecting on all that has been said in the past 2 months. So we are clear about this, that both, remember, chapter 13 and chapter 14 takes place in the month of November, and by November it's pretty cold. By October itself it's pretty cold. September 15th the summer gets over in the west, and October, November it is pretty cold. So Marian has to be absent. She can't be present there when Leonard comes, and when Ainsley brings Leonard and to the flat, to their I'm using the word flat, apartment, room, so don't worry about it. That is, remember where they stay on the first floor, and the landlady, the lady down below, stays below. That is why she's called as a lady down below. Please go back to chapter 1 and you will understand what I'm talking about. Okay, so Marian immediately, what she does is she gives an account of what Ainsley has reported to her about her meetings with Leonard. So over the past 2 months, what has happened? We'll just look at the sequence of that, and then we will be clear about how their relationship has progressed. Okay, students. So let us look at how Ainsley's relationship with Leonard has progressed over the past 2 months. Okay, so they met in the month of September, and it's November now. So the first meeting was in Park Plaza, which we saw in which chapter is that? Chapter 8 and 9. Okay, where she gave this school. She had dressed up like a schoolgirl, and she was projecting herself as an innocent person and also as a dumb person. Dumb in the sense she lacks intelligence. அப்படிங்கிறத அவங்க clear சொன்னாங்க, clear indicate பண்ணாங்க. Then Len realizes after the first meeting that he has to approach Ainsley cautiously. This is a conclusion that Ainsley has come to, because remember, Ainsley is a very intelligent person, and not only that, she has majored in psychology. So then he invites her to lunch several times, and then to dinner dates and to foreign films together. He has not touched her. There is no physical intimacy. In all these things, he does not show any physical intimacy towards her. Okay, that is by touching her or anything like that. No physical intimacy. And then he treats her like a little girl, as if the age difference between him and her is more than 15 years or something like that. And then explaining everything to her very patiently. Now she was tired of the schoolgirl image. She was tired of the schoolgirl image and wanted to end it today. So Ainsley wants Marian to call Peter and tell him that she's coming there. இவ்வளோ இன்ஃபர்மேஷன் எப்படி கிடைக்கிறதுனா, this is the information that Marian tells, that the novelist tells us through Marian. Okay, so she has been sharing this with Marian over the past 2 months. So, and she's been very blunt about it. No, I don't want to keep up this image, this, that. Now, there is a problem here. Okay, so now how is this going to proceed? Let's just look at how this is going to proceed. The idea is that Ainsley and Len will go for dinner, and Ainsley will invite him to the flat, to their room. Okay, to their room. So in the flat to their room. Okay, and what she wants is that Marian go over to Peter's flat, but there is a problem there. The problem is that after the proposal, her relationship with Peter had changed. And how has it changed? See, Peter was her boyfriend till 2 months ago. But the moment he proposed, the trouble was that she could not go over to Peter's flat just like that unannounced just as she had done 2-3 months back. Okay, and sit there through the evening. So Marion knows, one, she cannot go to Peter's flat because her relationship has changed. Okay, and so she thinks of all the other possible other possible places she can go to, and she's thinking whether she can go and sit in a park. Okay, but then it will be too cold. Okay, and then she thinks whether she can go along with the go over to the go along with the office virgin somewhere. But again, there is a problem there. Okay, she could call, but then she says no, that is not a good idea. So she finally decides to see a movie. So Ainsley's Marion decides to see a movie, in fact, a late show. So, and Ainsley is happy with Marion's decision. And then she reveals her plan. Okay. She reveals her plan. Her plan is to go to the dinner with Leonard. So Ainsley is happy with Marion's decision, but then Marion tells her that no matter how long the movie is, that she has to be back by 12:30. ஏன்னா லேட் நைட் ஷோனே வச்சுங்க 2 to 5 ஷோ கிடையாது. 1 மணி 2 மணியோட முடிஞ்சிடும் மேக்ஸிமம். 2 மணி ஷோ இட்செல்ஃப் இஸ் 2 o'clock முடிகிற ஷோவே ரொம்ப 12:30 1. ஓகே, she has to be back by 12:30 at night. So what is her plan for that? By that time she should have settled with Leonard somewhere in the flat. Okay, so Ainsley gives a plan. So she tells her that this is one of the issues that you will be facing. Fine, I'll not be there when you and Leonard come back. So Ainsley tells that after dinner she is proposing to call Len to their room. Okay, and then she also indicates that so Marion wonders, how are you going to decide which room you are going to occupy? So Ainsley gives a very practical approach to that. So Marion asks her, look, I have to be back by 12:30, and how do I know whether you will be occupying, whether my bedroom will not be occupied? So they have 2 separate rooms. Ainsley's room is separate and Marion's room is separate. So Ainsley gives her, her a clue. She says, let us agree upon a signal. If I use your bedroom, okay, if I'm using my bedroom, there is no problem at all. But if I use your bedroom, I will hang a tie as a signal. Okay, so this is the signal that I have occupied the bedroom and you are supposed to go and sleep in my bedroom. Okay, as such, Marion is not feeling happy about this. Marion is feeling a bit depressed and homeless because she's been asked to leave she thought she would have a quiet evening in her room, and this is what she gets. First, she's irritated because she the dinner date with Peter has been cancelled, and here she's feeling almost homeless and dispossessed. Okay, because one, the dinner date there has been cancelled, and also Ainsley's attitude in this, because Ainsley is completely concentrating on on seducing Leonard. So then Ainsley leaves. So Marion is alone. She eats dinner and decides to go to the movies. Okay, and the movie theater is near the laundromat. Okay, very near the laundromat. So as she's having dinner, she's getting all these hunting images in her mind. Mainly, she feels that Len is being hunted here. Okay, so plus before she leaves, she contemplates on all those times. So Ainsley has left. Marion has had attacks of conscience over the past 2 months. Marion wanted to warn Leonard, warn her friend. After all, warn Len is the back formation of Leonard. Okay, the name Leonard. Okay, she wanted to warn him many times. In fact, she wanted to also make an anonymous call and just muffle her, use some sort of clothing over the speaker part of the telephone, and then tell beware அப்படின்னு சொல்லணும்னு நினைச்சாலாம். But then she feels that it's not worth it. She wanted to make an anonymous call and warn Len, but then Len would not believe her. Okay, Len would not have believed her, believed the caller, or believed the message. That what is the message that she wanted to convey? That he is being hunted by, he's being seduced by Ainsley. So these are the thoughts that Marion gets. Actually, over the past 2 months, she wanted to warn Leonard that, through an anonymous call, not directly, call him and, act as if she is calling, that someone else is calling, and warn Leonard of the consequences of, having a relationship with Ainsley. But then she realizes that Ainsley is a scheming super female, and there was an agreement with Ainsley that Marion had with Ainsley that no one will interfere. They will not interfere in each other's strategy. Because if Marion had called, if Marion had revealed her plans, had revealed Ainsley's plans, then what would have happened was she would have tried to, Ainsley could have launched a counterattack and Peter would have lost confidence in Marion, in their relationship. So that could have happened. So Marion decided that Len has to suffer this fate that, in fact, what fate? He is like an early Christian being fed to the lions. Okay, or she changes it and she says maybe he's an early lion who's fed to the Christian. I'm not very clear about this. This metaphor is taken from the Bible, from biblical history, where early Christians, before the Church of St. Peter was established, the Christians in Rome, they were not favored by the Roman emperor, and they were fed to the lions. அது நீங்க அந்த கதை எடுத்து பாத்தீங்கன்னா ரொம்ப இன்ட்ரெஸ்டிங்கா இருக்கும். Interesting and yet very tragic. Okay, so Marion then, when she's about to go to the movie, she wonders about the lady down below. What will happen if she discovers that a man has come to their room? Okay, so then she thinks, okay, the worst case scenario scenario would be that they will have to find another apartment. That is okay. So she will have to find another apartment till she gets married. So that's not the she's not worried about it. Then Marion takes the subway to the movie theater. There are 2 theaters, and it is near the laundromat. Okay, near the laundromat. So, and she decides on what movie to. So there are 2 movies, and she chooses. Actually, before she goes to the movies, there is this thing is, how is she going to, how will Len come in? Okay, how will Len come in and how will Len leave? These 2 questions are not answered. Okay, so anyway, okay, let us worry about this later. ஒரு லாண்ட்ரி பேக்ல வேணா வச்சு எடுத்துன்னு போயிடலாமா அப்படின்னு ஒரு ஐடியாலாம் வருது. So she goes to the movie theater and she chooses a low budget to see a low budget American Western movie. Okay, a Western is a film in which you have a lot of cowboys. Okay, so she sat in the cinema hall. It was empty, half empty, and because she wanted to just she didn't want to think too much. She didn't want to go to a serious movie. Okay, so she chose this movie, and then she sat in such a manner that no other man could. She sat in the chair. Okay, in the theater, in the movie theater, in such a manner that no one could touch her. And this is one huge problem that she discovered as she grew up, that some elderly person would sit near her and would try to touch her. So she sat in her seat in such a manner that அது நீங்க நாவல் எடுத்து பாத்தீங்கன்னா உங்களுக்கே தெரியும். பேஜ் நம்பர் திஸ் occurs in page number 149. Okay, so as she is so she had a very embarrassing yeah she had very embarrassing experiences before, okay, in the cinema halls. Previously she had it, so that is why she is very careful about sitting in the actually as she is watching the movie, she is wondering about those who are playing the secondary roles. And I wanted to share this with you. The secondary roles பண்றவங்க அந்த மூவில ஒரு 5 நிமிஷம், இந்த மூவில ஒரு 3 minutes screen time இருக்கும். So she was thinking those actors who perform these secondary roles would have a lot of spare time, and how will they spend the spare time thinking. I mean, anyway, the வருமானமும் ஒன்றும் ஓகன் இருக்காது. எப்பாவது நீங்க இந்த ஆக்டர்ஸோட இன்டர்வியூலாம் ஏதாச்சும் கொஞ்சம் இது பண்ணி பாருங்க. இன்ஃபேக்ட் ப்ரொடியூசர்ஸோட எடுத்து பாருங்க. ஜஸ்ட் 1 or 2. I'm not saying go deep into it, but they would have a lot of spare time. They would not have that much of income, and they will have dreams of stardom. Okay, they'll have dreams of stardom, dreams of becoming a star. இது அவங்க அதை பத்தி யோசிக்கிறா. And as she's thinking, she just actually the seat near her, the seat to her right and to her left are unoccupied. Okay, so she was distracted by it's a half empty theater. So that's what I told you just 2 or 3 minutes before. So she's distracted by a crackling noise. Yaro edo onu vadachu saapidra mari. She hears a crackling noise near her, and two places, two seats away, to her left, she sees a person eating this. This person is none other than Duncan. She recognizes him as the person from the laundromat. Okay, she still does not know his name, so she recognizes him as the person from the laundromat, and then she's wondering what he would be. She becomes curious as to what he is eating, because it is not peanuts. So what he would be eating, this is her, she's trying to make a guess. Actually, she's wondering about this as she's watching the movie, and a description of the movie is also given. And in fact, a fun of, see, just as she has made a comment about the secondary roles, actors playing secondary roles, she's making a lot of comments. The novelist is making a lot of comments. So, but she finds this crackling noise occurring at regular intervals, and it is disturbing her. யாரோ பக்கத்துல உட்காந்து கடக் 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 கடக்கு சத்தம் போட்டு இருந்தா எப்படி இருக்கும். So yeah, and when she and then this suddenly stopped. This noise suddenly stopped. She looked to her left, and Duncan had left. Okay, Duncan was not there. Okay, so she continues watching the movie, but what happens is there is a noise, there is a voice from behind her, okay, who says pumpkin seeds. Somebody says this. Obviously Duncan is standing behind her and says pumpkin seeds. Okay, she doesn't turn around immediately. So she thinks that she's imagining this. இது யாரோ சொல்லிருக்காங்க, I'm imagining these things அப்படின்னா. Okay, she does not turn around immediately. And what happens is, and since she does not turn around immediately, she turns around after a while, and she finds no one there. So it's empty. So she thinks that she had imagined this entire episode. நான் அந்த பையனையும் பார்க்கல, டன்கன்ங்கிற அந்த பையனையும் பார்க்கல, and I think someone has, I was hearing this voice inside my head. So okay, and then what happens is, so she wants to confirm whether this person was eating something. So just to to confirm whether she has been imagining this, or whether something else has happened, or whether it is really Duncan, she after the movie ends, she goes over to the seat where Duncan was sitting and finds empty shells. So she was not imagining it. So the movie ends. She comes back to her flat. Okay. She comes back to her room. And you know what will happen? She has to climb the stairs. She is intercepted by the lady down below. She is actually disturbed. It is almost 12:30. Okay, and she asks. She's disturbed. She inquires if uh, Miss Tews, TWC, that's Ainsley. Okay. Ainsley has brought some, male friend of hers. Okay, so she's asking if a man went along with. So she's highly suspicious. Okay, the lady down below is suspicious. She knows that. So Marian knows that Len has come. Okay, and so she says that a man has gone along with Miss Twer's upstairs. So she's suspicious, and he has not come down. Okay, so Marian assures the lady down below that. So Marian immediately assures the lady down below that the man may have left long back. Okay, they would have come at around 10:30. We don't know the exact time. Okay, so that is not mentioned here. And since it's already past one, he would have left. So, and she says that Ainsley may have slept. Another oh, and the lady down below is self-assured. Okay, is less suspicious. Agrees with Marian, and she says, "Oh, நீங்க ரெண்டு பேரும் நல்ல பொண்ணுங்க தான், எனக்கு நல்லா தெரியும்." Okay, and so Marian is a bit upset that she has to do the explanation for for Ainsley. Marian climbs the stairs, thinking about just one thing, as to how Len will leave the next morning. Okay, because it's obvious that Len and Ainsley are upstairs. Okay, so our flat room nodayara, and she discovers the following things. The Scotch bottle is actually the Scotch bottle patti inga na mention panala because I didn't want to go into those details. Okay, so okay, the Scotch bottle is 3/4 empty, and so it is 3/4 empty. 25% தான் மிஞ்சிருக்கு. Okay, and she sees a tie hanging outside her room. So Marian is not happy about this, but she can finally sleep. So Marian sleeps in Ainsley's room. Okay, she knows that Len and okay, so this is an indication that Len and Ainsley have occupied Marian's bedroom. Okay, so this is the end of chapter 14. So before we say goodbye to this video, let us look at what happened in this chapter. So it is the evening of the same day as chapter 13. And what has happened is Marian reaches her flat. She is surprised to see that Ainsley is planning to seduce Len. Marian and Ainsley gives suggestions to Marian that she cannot stay in the flat because she has to seduce Len that night. So Ainsley's relationship with Len is revealed, and how it progressed over the past 2 months. It's November, and how it progressed over the past 2 months. That's what we saw. And why does she want to end it tonight? End this image, etc. tonight, and use Leonard to get herself a baby, because she's tired of the schoolgirl image that she has constructed. This is one huge problem. Don't construct any image. Be yourself. That is what I learned when I attended the army interview. Okay, anyway, I'll talk about it later. So Ainsley wants Marion to call Peter and go over to his flat, but then Marion decides not to go to Peter's flat because their relationship has changed. Peter will not approve of this. She cannot go and sit in the park because it will be too cold. She cannot ask the office virgins to come out. Again, she doesn't want to do that. So finally she decides to see a movie. And so Ainsley is happy with Marion's decision. Ainsley's plan is that is, they are going out for a date, Ainsley and Len. She'll come back, and it depends on which bedroom or which room they are going to use that particular night. So for that, she will hang a tie as a signal. If she uses Marion's bedroom, she will hang a tie as a signal, and she leaves. And after she leaves, Marion is feeling dispossessed. She eats, she eats her dinner. She gets all these hunting images in her mind. The Len is being hunted. Actually, Marion wanted to warn Leonard because he's being hunted, but then she looks at the other. See, is it correct to warn your friend when he is convinced that he is in control? So that convinces Marion not to tell Leonard. So Leonard has to suffer this fate. And what really happens is there is a metaphor that is inserted here that is wonderfully brought in here from the Bible. Len is like an early Christian being fed to the lion. Obviously, the lion is Ainsley. Then Marion then wonders about the lady down below. As she's going to the movie theater, what will happen if she finds out if Len has come in and not gone out? So, well, she imagines, okay, worst case scenario, I'll be sent out of the apartment. I'll search for a new apartment. Marion then takes the subway to the movie theater and chooses to see a Western movie. And she notices Duncan there. She notices him for some time. He's cracking open something and eating. It's not peanuts. And she's curious. And when she looks at him again, he has disappeared. And suddenly there is a voice from behind which tells her that it is pumpkin seeds. So she thinks that she has been hallucinating this entire time, but she has not been doing that. So after the movie ends, she goes to the seat where Duncan was sitting and finds that indeed it is some pumpkin seeds. There are empty shells of pumpkin seeds left out. Okay. And she comes back to the flat, has a conversation with the lady down below, who suspects that that a man has gone up. Obviously, Leonard has gone up. Leonard has gone up and has not come down. She says, no, that is not possible. I'll talk to you about this in the morning. அப்படின்னு சொல்லிட்டு அவ கன்வின்ஸ் பண்ணிட்டு போயிடுறா. And then she discovers that Ainsley and Len and Ava have occupied her bedroom. So she is forced to sleep in Ainsley's bedroom, which is not very clean. So with that, we complete chapter 14. Please look forward to the video on chapter 15 in another day or two. Thank you.